Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts. We're doing another unboxing, another offline product game review. This is Metroid Prime Remastered for the Nintendo Switch. To jump right into it, this physical copy here just says it's base vanilla version of the game, so the on-cartridge version is 1.0. And at time making this video, there were no updates available, which again is extremely nice to see. Now, that could change quickly here, so please let me know if an update does pop up so I can change the scoring at the thumbnail so it can no longer be gold. I can change it, but at the time there were no updates available, which again is extremely nice to see. And as well as I did play the entire game, I did not 100% complete it, but I did beat it and unlock hard mode. But my experience was generally flawless. I did have some frame rate drops in specific areas, like a bunch of enemies attacking me or a bunch of enemies on screen, a bunch of going on. I did have the frame rate stutter quite significantly, but it fixed itself pretty quickly, so it wasn't like in midst of combat or anything like that. So thankfully it wasn't that big of a deal. Now this remaster does include some bonus features to the overall experience than just being a re-release of the original game. First and foremost, the game supports the Pro Controller, which now supports the 2 joysticks, so now you can be able to aim and look with 2 different joysticks. While the original game had the GameCube controller, which only had like really 1 joystick and 1 little C button kind of joy thing, whatever the heck that was. Basically, it wasn't the best controller scheme set up, so this newer remastered version is more updated, more modern in terms of the gameplay style, which again is extremely nice. But if you prefer the original, there is a button layout you can change to the classic style, so that's really nice. I really like it when game developers include, when these updated versions do include to let you play the original style in case you do prefer that way. And I do want to touch on that subject a little bit more, but the game also includes some more accessibility features for like color blindness and stuff like that, which again is extremely nice. I always love accessibility features being included in games, because more people getting to play the games and get to enjoy what I love, video games, is better. As well as the game has graphical enhancements. The game has been overhauled quite significantly in the graphical department. Now, I've never played Metroid Prime, so this is the first time I've ever really sat down and played it. I did play a little bit back in the past on my GameCube, but I never really liked the GameCube controller, so I didn't get very far. As well as I did play the Nintendo Wii version. I think that's called Metroid Prime 3 Corruption or something like that. I didn't really get into it either again. That's because, again, I didn't like the Wii controller things. So this was the first time I've ever truly sat down and played Metroid Prime. And perfectly honest, it's a bit of a hit and miss for me. There are some aspects and some things I can forgive and overlook, but there are other aspects that I just can't be ignored. While Metroid Prime, again, is an achievement from the series to include a first-time full 3D for the Metroid series, because you gotta remember, Metroid Prime, or Metroid series, was always like a 2D Metroidvania kind of style, so this was the first time introduced in a full 3D aspect, which is a huge chance and a struggle for many developers out there, including like Sonic and Mario and so forth, to try to include 3D world. Well, as I said, I played through the entire thing. I didn't 100% complete it, but I did beat it and get hard mode. And as I said, my experience was hit and miss. The overall experience is good. Like, playing Samus was fun, it was smooth, it was fluid, it ran really smooth at 60 frames per second. There was some, like I said, some minor frame rate drops here and there, but nothing serious. But, I mean, the biggest gripes is that, like, switching between the blasters can be a little frustrating, having to hold a button and then try to switch it with your D-pad, and that kind of, in mid-combat, isn't the best utilization. And it's just some of the navigation, but then again, maybe that's just because I'm so out of touch with Nintendo Switch and trying to hit the X button, and I can no longer trust when they tell me to hit the X button. I can never remember where the X button is on the Switch controller. But to go into the game and stop beating around the bush, I can't say I ultimately had fun with this game. There were just so many problems. First and foremost, the game does not include fast travel. While, granted, there are understandable reasons why maybe fast travel wasn't included in this game, because, as I said, it was the first attempt at 3D Metroidvania style, which, and again, I want to point out that at the time, when this game was made, that I don't know if there was any full 3D, whether over-the-shoulder, first-person, Metroidvania style game. So growing pains are all there, but this is a remastered, and I have to judge it as a new release in that terms, because there are things that could have probably improved upon the game than just graphics, and that was fast travel. Fast travel would have made the experience so much smoother. I'm not saying they had to include every single save point have fast travel. You could have picked maybe 3 or 4 points in each biome that had fast travel. That would at least made the experience much smoother because there's so much backtracking in this game. You'll get an ability just to go way back that you have to manually run all the way back to another location just to get another ability so you can track all the way back to where you were. It was some of the most irritating things, and I'm generally not that big of a deal for backtracking, but this game just took it to another level. As well as that, as I talked about, the game currently utilized the GameCube controller, so combat isn't the most engaging. And on top of that, you eventually unlock different kind of blasters. They don't really use any of them. Like, you get a fire one, an ice one, an electrical one. The electrical one they do use for some puzzles and trying to activate certain doors and stuff like that, which was cool. But then you get an ice one, then you get a fire one, and you never use that for any kind of environmental traversal or anything like that. So it was very frustrating that, like, and again, another thing, that you have to use your particular blasters to open particular doors. So basically, your blasters were just keys. That's all you were getting. Not a new weapon, a new key. And you have to manually switch to this key every single time you want to open up a different door. Again, irritating. And this could have been another easy fix. Instead of having to switch to every key, you could have just had it when you finally gotten that key. You don't have to manually switch to that weapon. Once you've gotten the key, you can use any blaster as long as you have unlocked that key. That would have saved time and kind of have to jumble between every blaster or plasma gun or whatever you want to call it. Again, very frustrating. And as well as that, there was just certain environmental things that, while they were cool in how they did it, again, you had to backtrack so much, it got repetitive really quick. And just, on top of that, I keep adding more to this, but you eventually get different visors, which was kind of cool. Get heat, x-ray, and so on, and then you can scan environments. And that's really cool, but again, they don't really utilize it, they don't do very much with it, and there are certain areas that you have to prolong using it that it actually started irritating my eyes, constantly seeing like the x-ray vision. X-ray vision wasn't too hard on my eyes, but the thermal goggles really started irritating my eyes pretty quickly in the game. Granted, I get it, there is nostalgic, there is some utilization that at the time was really impressive, but just because they're impressive now, we can't just ignore these flaws just because, well, nostalgia or Nintendo. These are flaws, and these are things they could have easily fixed with this remaster to make the experience more fluid and smooth. And on that note, the map is atrocious trying to navigate and learn how to balance and spin and twirl to try to figure out where exactly you are and where exactly you need to go. I had to check my map so many times in this game because I just kept getting lost. Even though the map isn't that big, it's just because the map is so poorly designed. As well as that, I don't know how else to really explain certain other aspects without maybe going into spoilers, but like the story felt like I guess I was supposed to know the Metroid series because I had no idea what was going on in the game, and just other utilizations in this game that I could go on for quite a while. And I get it that some reason this game is underneath some kind of protection bubble that you're forbidden to say anything negative about the game because apparently it's considered one of the greatest games ever made, which there are flaws in this game. Even when it first came out, this game has problems and it needs to be acknowledged and pointed out. Now, granted, there are benefits and there's some understandings from the time the game came out, but we can't just keep ignoring it just because it's Nintendo or nostalgia. Overall, I don't want to go into it, but I didn't ultimately enjoy this game. I think personally, if I ran through the game again on hard mode, I might enjoy myself because now I would actually know what I'm doing. But for the most part, I just wasn't having fun, and especially near the end when I had to look for the artifacts, which there's no way you would be able to find these artifacts unless you already knew where they were or you were using some guide, because unless you were running through the entire game with thermal goggles and the x-ray vision, some of these are so hidden I have no idea how you were supposed to find those. Clearly those were put in there back in the past, because back in the day you would oftenly try to encourage like strategy guides or try to find ways to limit rentals and stuff like that. Clearly they were using that in this game, and it was frustrating. I got more and more annoyed. It took me about around 17 hours to beat the game, and I guarantee you 5 to 6 hours of that was just me running around with no idea where I was supposed to go and what I was supposed to do, because the game was just nothing but annoyance for me. There are some good shining moments in the game, but I'm more frustrated at the fact that they spent more time working about graphics than actually utilizing fast travel, fixing the key system, then focusing on maybe more mechanical stuff, as well as that maybe having included the feature where you can switch between old classic graphics and newer graphics. I would have liked that, and just other slew of other things. Now, granted, you may 100% disagree with me, and that is perfectly okay. If you love this game and all of its flaws, and you can choose to ignore those, that's fine. That's great. That's more power to you. But it's my job to point out these flaws and understand that these flaws need to be addressed. I don't care about the history. I don't care about what people's review systems are. That's not how you do a game review. You got to look at the flaws and judge every game fairly. Because some of the flaws in this game, other games had the same flaw and got completely reamed because it had these flaws. But somehow Metroid Prime is getting a free pass on it. I don't know why, either than it's nostalgia or that it's Nintendo. And I don't know. I'm going off to a rant right now, and I'm really sorry. This game really irritated me. If you love the game, who cares what I think? Though, as I said, this is still a great product. The game ran great from the beginning and end for me. There were no updates, at least at the time making this video, which again is extremely nice. So this is a great physical copy to get on your shelf. I don't ever want to play this game again personally, but I will have to if the newer console is backwards compatible, which I kind of regret about that, because I kind of wish I just held off and just played this game on a newer console, because I don't look forward to playing this game again, honest to God. Now, I might enjoy myself a little bit more since I know what I'm doing, but still, there were some things that it's unforgivable, even back then and now, that they didn't fix. This is nowhere near the greatest game ever made, or should be getting the praise that it's getting. I don't understand it, but hey, who cares what I think? So thank you all so much for watching. Hope this unboxing video was helpful, and this is still a great product to put on your Nintendo Switch collective shelf. So there, hey, I'm happy for all of you who are Metroid fans and Metroid Prime fans. Hopefully other games will get released in physical copies, and the new fourth one, and so forth, for all you guys who are fans of the series. Because at the end of the day, maybe it's just simply that this series isn't for me, because I didn't even ultimately really enjoy Metroid Dread. So maybe I just have to take that realization that the Metroid series is not for me. And that's perfectly okay. Not every game is for everyone. So again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next unboxing video. Bye-bye!